The secret training drills. Olympic Taekwondo athletes use daily Podium. At first glance, Olympic Taekwondo looks like a blur of kicks, feints, and rapid footwork. What most people see are the explosive moments, the spinning head kicks, the lightning-fast counters, the buzzer-beater finishes. But beneath the spectacle lies something far less glamorous, yet absolutely essential. Daily training drills that sharpen the edge of every elite fighter. These drills don't go viral. They don't make the highlight reels. But they are the foundation of every medal-winning performance. And today we're pulling back the curtain to show you exactly what goes into the daily grind of an Olympic-level Taekwondo athlete. Podium. Section 1. The reality behind the podium. Before diving into the actual drills, let's set the scene. Olympic Taekwondo isn't just a test of talent. It's a war of preparation. At this level, everyone is skilled. Everyone has speed. What separates the champions from the rest is consistency, control, and conditioning. And those come from structured, daily routines that rarely change but constantly evolve in precision. These routines aren't random. They're built around performance data, biomechanics, injury prevention, and strategic repetition. Let's break them down by category and look at the story each part tells. Section 1. The reality behind the podium. But before diving into the actual drills, let's set the scene. Olympic Taekwondo isn't just a test of talent. It's a war of preparation. At this level, everyone is fast. Everyone can kick high. Everyone has put in thousands of hours. What separates the champions from the rest isn't just natural ability or flashy technique. It's consistency, control, and conditioning, refined through an unrelenting daily training structure. The podium doesn't reflect who had the best single performance. It reflects who was the most prepared. Fighters don't rise to the occasion. They fall to the level of their training. And at the Olympic level, that training is incredibly detailed. Behind every medal, there's a roadmap. And that roadmap is built on 4 key pillars: performance data, biomechanical efficiency, injury prevention, and strategic repetition. Let's start with performance data. Modern Taekwondo teams don't just guess what works. They measure it. Athletes wear sensors in their chest protectors, headgear, and sometimes even on their limbs. Every impact, every reaction time, every movement pattern is logged. Over time, coaches identify not just what an athlete is doing, but how well, how often, and how efficiently. If one athlete consistently scores from a particular distance but takes too long to reset after a missed back kick, that's tracked. Then training is adapted to fix that one detail. This microanalysis happens weekly, sometimes daily, with top-tier teams. Over time, it builds a level of precision that gives athletes an edge during unpredictable, high-stakes matches. Next is biomechanics. Every athlete moves differently. Some have longer legs, some are more flexible, others rely on explosive power. Olympic-level coaching doesn't try to fit everyone into the same mold. Instead, movement patterns are studied through video breakdowns and sometimes motion capture systems. From there, drills are customized. One athlete may work on tighter chambering to shorten their kick cycle. Another may focus on pelvic rotation for maximum torque. Now let's talk injury prevention. At this level, most injuries don't happen from big hits. They come from overuse. Repetitive kicking, sudden directional changes, and frequent sparring put a huge load on joints, especially the knees, ankles, and hips. That's why daily drills include mobility work, joint stabilization, and recovery routines. These aren't optional extras. They're part of the core training plan. Athletes who skip them don't last long. Athletes who master them stay in peak condition through the entire Olympic cycle. Finally, strategic repetition. This is where discipline beats flash. Olympic fighters practice the same fundamental drills hundreds, even thousands of times. But they are not doing it blindly. Every rep has a goal: better balance, cleaner technique, faster transition, more control. The repetition isn't for memorization. It's for muscle pattern optimization under fatigue, pressure, and time constraints. The end result? Fighters who don't just know what to do, but can execute it instinctively at full speed in real time with a world title on the line. This level of detail, the invisible work, defines Olympic Taekwondo. The drills you'll see in the next sections aren't magic. They're the product of this kind of intense, calculated, and disciplined preparation. On Section 2, the morning mobility ritual. The morning mobility ritual. Every Olympic athlete starts their day with mobility, not to stretch, but to unlock performance. The goal isn't flexibility for show, it's functional range of motion to kick faster, pivot harder, and absorb less strain. Take the example of a national team fighter from South Korea. In the lead-up to Tokyo 2020, his mornings were dedicated to a 45-minute mobility protocol. Hip openers with resistance bands, deep lunges with rotation, controlled ankle rolls using balance pads. These drills weren't glamorous, but they allowed him to rotate his hips fluidly, extend his kicking leg fully, and reduce stress on his knees. Without this kind of prep, his kicks would have lost snap. And his joints would have paid the price over months of high-volume sparring. The hidden engine. Taekwondo is a kicking sport, but the power doesn't come from the leg. It comes from the core, the torso, hips, and spine working in sync to generate torque. That's why Olympic athletes spend nearly a third of their off-mat time training their core, but not with sit-ups or crunches. Their drills are dynamic and sport-specific. Resistance band twists from a fighting stance. Planks with alternating leg lifts to simulate balance under fatigue. Medicine ball throws, but with Taekwondo pivot motions built in. One Olympian known for his devastating spin kicks spent years refining rotational strength. He didn't just train to be strong, he trained to transfer power from his core into his kicks. And in one memorable semifinal, his spinning hook knocked out an opponent who'd never been finished before. That moment didn't come from talent alone. It was the result of thousands of reps in unseen training halls. Precision kicking on the paddle line. When it comes to Taekwondo, accuracy is everything. Olympic fighters don't just kick hard, they kick exactly where they need to, under pressure and at speed. To build this ability, they train on what's called the paddle line, a series of handheld targets positioned at varying heights and angles. But this isn't casual pad work. Each round is timed, each kick has a target zone, and each miss is analyzed. A European gold medalist built her timing on this drill. Her coach would shout out unpredictable combos, front leg round kick, fast back kick, switch, spinning hook, and she had less than a second to respond. Over time, she could throw a 6-kick combo with full control, each landing cleanly on target, even at full speed. The paddle line isn't glamorous, but in a sport where one clean kick can decide the match, this drill is the closest thing to insurance. But reaction and decision-making drills. Taekwondo isn't a pre-planned dance, it's chaos. Fighters have milliseconds to read, react, and counter. And that's why Olympic athletes train reactions separately. Using light sensor gear, random signal lights, or just a sparring partner's feints, fighters build reflexes through repetition. One common drill, the coach points left, and the athlete has to counter right. Then a feint, then a pause, then a double signal. It seems simple, but what it builds is split-second decision-making under fatigue. In a world championship bout, one athlete faced a taller opponent with a longer reach. Early on, he kept getting scored on by front leg kicks. But thanks to reaction training, by round 2, he started baiting those kicks and countered with explosive back kicks each time. He didn't just adjust mentally. His body was already programmed to react. Raw sparring doesn't build Olympic skill. Smart sparring does. That's why elite fighters train with constraints. Only front leg kicks allowed. No kicks above the waist. Core only with counters. These limitations sharpen specific tools. One South American fighter known for his elusive movement spent entire weeks sparring without kicking, only dodging, parrying, and countering. It improved his reading of the game tenfold. When he finally added his kicks back in, he wasn't just fighting, he was predicting. That's how he beat a former world champion in the quarters, not with power, but with timing. Olympic fighters push their bodies to the edge, but they don't fall off it. Way bomb, because recovery isn't an afterthought, it's baked into the routine. After every evening session, recovery drills begin. Foam rolling with pressure points, static holds with breath, control, targeted mobility for overused joints. Some even include hydrotherapy, anti-inflammatory nutrition, and joint-specific band work. One promising fighter from Iran once suffered a near career-ending knee issue. But with a strict recovery program woven into his training, he not only came back, he came back better. By the next Olympic cycle, he was landing jump-back kicks with the same knee that once needed surgery. The secret to Olympic Taekwondo isn't just speed, power, or strategy. It's discipline, repeating the same targeted drills every day, even when no one is watching. Mobility to stay fluid, core work to generate torque, paddle drills to strike with purpose, reaction training to stay a step ahead, sparring with intention, and recovery to keep going. These aren't glamorous. They won't get millions of views on their own, but they're the reason the highlight reel moments exist in the first place. So the next time you watch a spinning heel kick land in the final seconds of an Olympic match, remember, it wasn't luck. It was built through quiet, consistent work that started months, sometimes years before. Thanks for watching. If you want to dive deeper into the world of elite Taekwondo or explore the techniques behind Olympic-level training, hit subscribe. We've got more coming. So,